In Kenya, dawn does not open a new day. It opens a judgment. Across the plains of the Masai Mara, the roar of lions tears through the thin morning mist. Elsewhere, a cheetah has already lowered his body into the grass, waiting for the burst that will decide everything. Hyenas linger at the edge of the light, patient, as if they know that on this land, the winner is not always the one who strikes first. In the deep mud of the river bends, crocodiles lie still like ancient slabs of stone. Hippos rise from waters that only seem calm. And beyond the sunlit alkaline lakes, flocks of flamingos stain the horizon, pink, fragile yet enduring. Kenya is more than nature. Kenya is a place where life pays for every breath, because the true heart of this land does not belong to a single species. It belongs to the Great Migration. More than 1 million wildebeest needs verification, joined by zebras and gazelles, pour toward muddy rivers where the raging current is only the first danger. Beneath the surface, death is waiting. Along the banks, predators are waiting too. And when the first animal leaps, the entire savanna seems to explode. This is no longer a journey. It is the final test of instinct. In Kenya, there is no room for hesitation. There are only those who keep moving forward and those who vanish in the current. This is Kenya, where every footprint pressed into the red earth continues the oldest story on this planet: survive or be devoured. Across open country, where there is almost nowhere to hide, one animal places its entire fate in a few short seconds. The cheetah does not roar like a lion. It does not wait for darkness like a leopard. It does not depend on a large clan the way a hyena does. It needs only the right distance, ground open enough to run, and one moment when its prey loses the rhythm of its own body. Then everything detonates. The long, narrow body lowers into the grass, the spine coiling like a bowstring, the tail flicking once to steady the balance. Ahead, a gazelle grazes, ears twitching, still unaware that death chose it before it looked up. The first surge is not a chase. It is an explosion. Grass tears loose under pounding feet. Red dust boils behind the body. Muscles stretch and recoil in a violent rhythm. The gazelle breaks away at the same instant. It is not running faster than claws. It is running on fear. On the savanna, fear is a perfect engine. The two animals tear open the air between them. On one side, a hunter that must kill quickly before its own heart and lungs begin to burn it alive. On the other, a prey animal that needs only a few more seconds to turn the predator's greatest gift into the thing that destroys it. Both are beautiful. Both are desperate. But the cheetah is a living contradiction. It is among the fastest land animals on Earth, and that very speed is also its most brutal limit. Every sprint is a gamble. Heat builds through the body. The heart hammers. The lungs seem to scrape against fire. If the first grab fails, the second chance may never come. And even after a successful kill in open country, the victory is not secure. Far above, vultures have already seen it happen. Somewhere beyond the ridge, hyenas may already have caught the scent of sweat and blood, announcing a free meal. The cheetah's greatest strength does not place it at the top of the food chain. It only gets it there faster than anyone else, then forces it to eat in fear. This is where the savanna turns expectation upside down. The fastest hunter is not always the one allowed to keep what it catches. The cheetah is built to perfection for the chase. Yet after the chase, it becomes more vulnerable than many heavier, slower animals. A lioness may steal the carcass. A clan of hyenas may force it back. Vultures descend lower. The wind shifts. And if the cheetah takes too long to recover its breath, the meal it purchased with its life may disappear before its eyes. And yet it remains. It still scans the plains with the black tear marks beneath its eyes. It still chooses the right moment, the youngest, the weakest, the route with the fewest obstacles. Its place in this system is not built on dominance. It lies in keeping the antelope alert, moving, sharp with every season. It is the blade of the savanna, not made to destroy everything, but to cut away weakness, hesitation, and bodies that can no longer keep pace with this land. And when evening falls, and a cheetah lies panting beside a gazelle it has just brought down, That is not an image of glory. It is the image of an animal that placed everything into a few brief seconds, and for now outran hunger. People call the lion a king. But the throne of the savannah is not made of gold. It is made of blood, territory, cubs that must survive the dry season, and roars loud enough to tell the world that this ground already belongs to someone. In the Masai Mara, dawn is not merely the arrival of light across the grass. It is the hour when the pride rises from a hot night, from old hunger, from patrols that lasted until just before sunrise. Lionesses emerge from the shade, shoulders low, eyes still heavy, as if sleep has not fully left them. The males stand behind, mane catching the first light, listening to the land as though it could be torn away in a single, careless night. The strength of a lion does not lie in the individual. It lies in society. Among the big cats, that is the exception. A pride is a structure of roles, of relationships, of a discipline that is never spoken aloud. The lionesses are the backbone of daily life. They hunt, nurse, guard, and share the angles of an ambush. One pushes a zebra herd off course, another cuts in front, a third blocks the retreat toward the dry gully. There is no shouting, no command. Only a knowledge already written into nerve and blood. Then the burst comes. The grassland seems to jump off its axis. Hooves strike, dust lifts, the grass breaks, and somewhere inside that prey herd, one body misses the rhythm. But inside all that power is a harder truth. Lions are never secure. A strong pride today may be broken tomorrow. The dominant males live under constant pressure. Hold the borders, hold breeding rights, hold the roar that travels farther than the next coalitions. If a younger, larger, more ruthless alliance of males enters the territory, the entire structure can change hands. And when that happens, the tragedy rarely ends with wounds. Cubs sired by the old rulers may be killed to force the lionesses back into reproductive cycle. On these plains, inheritance is not told through tenderness. It is written through replacement. That is the real turning point in the story of the king. Lion power is not a crown resting safely in place. It is a burden. The roar that rolls across the savannah at dusk is not only meant to threaten rivals, it is also a form of reassurance. I am still here. I still hold this land. I have not yet been pushed outside it, like the younger nomadic males drifting along the edges of someone else's kingdom. Their manes dusty, their bellies narrow, their eyes red from restless nights. Some will spend their entire lives as ghosts around the territories of stronger males, waiting for an uprising that may never come. Even so, the lion remains one of the pillars of this ecosystem. It keeps grazing herds in a permanent state of caution, forcing them to move, to judge where to sleep, where to graze, where to drink. It prevents the grassland from being swallowed by excess. And once the pride finishes eating, the remains feed hyenas, vultures, insects, soil, and next season's grass. No king stands alone. The lion is only the most visible face of a much deeper network. When night falls and its roar rolls across ground still warm from the day, the sound carries more than majesty. There is exhaustion in it. There is warning. There is fear. A king in Africa does not live to be admired. He lives to protect what he has for one more night. The sound people call a hyena's laugh does not signal joy. It tightens the air. In the dim light of the Masai Mara, when the last light stretches into metallic strips across the grass, that sound drifts like an ancient signal. There is blood somewhere, a conflict somewhere, an opportunity opening. Hyenas are not beautiful in the easy way humans tend to reward. They do not have the royal bearing of lions or the silent elegance of leopards. Their shoulders are high, their backs slope downward, their necks are thick as if molded from muscle, built only to drag, twist, and wrench flesh from the jaws of something else. But the savannah does not run on beauty. It runs on efficiency. And the hyena is one of the most efficient machines ever shaped for the African night. A hyena clan is not chaos. It is a society. It has hierarchy, matriarchs, alliances, memory, affection, and grudges that can endure for years. The dominant female needs no mane and no ceremony. One stance, one direction, one clip sound, and the others understand. The cubs tumbling outside the den are not simply playing. They are learning how to read signals, how to enter a feeding site without losing their faces, how to move within a structure that decides who eats first and who waits. For hyenas, survival cannot be separated from community. When darkness deepens, the clan begins to move. Not as fast as cheetahs, not as quietly as leopards. They move with endurance, with the ability to wear prey down until the prey's mind breaks before its body does. A strong wildebeest may outrun a lioness in the first burst, but if a group of hyenas trails it long enough, the rung becomes erosion. Breath goes ragged. Muscles flood with acid. One half step slows. Then the formation tightens. The bite does not need to look elegant. It only has to land in the right place, deep enough to make the prey understand that it can no longer continue. And many people miss what happens next. Hyenas are not simply good at killing. They're good at using everything. Their jaws do not stop at flesh, bone, tendon, hide. The things many other carnivores leave behind are crushed and swallowed. It sounds grotesque, but it is one of the most important jobs in this ecosystem. They strip the dead clean, block the spread of disease, and return what remains to the soil. In a landscape where death can easily become contamination, hyenas are sanitation workers the savanna cannot afford to lose. Then there is the quiet war with lions. No treaty, no permanent border, only opportunity and numbers in the moment. A large clan can absolutely harass a few lionesses off a carcass, but the arrival of a single adult male lion can tilt everything instantly. That is where hyenas reveal what they truly are. They know when to risk, when to retreat, when to wait outside the feeding site until the stronger animal is done. Their intelligence is not dramatic, it is practical. It is the ability to read a situation without letting ego kill the chance to survive. And perhaps that is why the hyena is one of the most honest faces of wild Kenya. It does not ask to be admired. It does not need forgiveness for its voice or its shape. It needs only to continue, to hunt when it must, to steal when it can, to clean when everyone else has gone. In that way, it tells an ancient truth. Nature does not hand out medals for being lovable. It keeps what works. Some journeys do not begin in courage. They begin in a shortage of food. When the grass thins, when the earth hardens beneath hooves, when the smell of rain is still far away, but new pasture waits somewhere beyond the horizon, the wildebeest begin to move. At first it is quiet, a few dozen bodies, then hundreds, then thousands, and the plains become a river of gray-black muscle rolling forward. Among them move zebras, their stripes shivering like the land itself has been split into alternating bands of light and shadow. Beyond them, gazelles, smaller, lighter, easier to lose, but quicker to sense the slightest change in the air. Wildebeest are not built to look noble. Heavy-headed, high-shouldered, sloping toward the rear, they seem assembled from the leftover parts of several different animals. But that awkwardness hides one of the greatest machines of endurance on the savanna. They move not by elegance, but by number and persistence. Zebras serve a different role. They cut the coarse grasses first, opening access to the softer growth wildebeest prefer. Gazelles feed more selectively, always scanning beyond the meal in front of them. All three are here together for a reason. They complement one another like different pulses in the same act of survival. By day, the herd moves like one giant nervous system. Every ear flick, every sudden lifted head, every hoof stamp at the edge of the group spreads like a rumor. Lions read those rumors. Hyenas read them. Cheetahs read them. Every predator knows that when this living river passes through, the whole land changes. Opportunity rises, but so does risk, because a large herd creates not only confusion, it creates thousands of eyes, ears, and noses. Then comes the river itself. The Mara is not just water, it is a final examination for instinct. From a distance, the surface seems calm. That calm is the frightening part. At the bank, wildebeest stop abruptly. Zebras press close behind them. Gazelles keep farther to the side, legs trembling. None wants to be first. But the longer they wait, the harder the pressure builds from behind, the more thirst tightens, and the stronger the forward pull becomes. One jumps. Then the whole wall begins to collapse toward the water. This is where nature asks its coldest question. When the herd surges at once, who will be half a step slower? Who slips in the mud at the edge? Who is pulled offline by the current? Who loses a calf? Who turns back? The answers change every season. The law does not. Migration is not merely a search for grass. It is one of the savannah's most visible mechanisms of selection. It strips away weakness, poor timing, hesitation. In return, it feeds the whole land. Lions, hyenas, crocodiles, vultures, bacteria in the soil, next year's grass. And once the survivors reach the far bank, they do not stop to celebrate. They simply keep moving. That is what makes the migration so immense. There is no audience in their eyes, no staged tragedy, only the ancient command to continue, even after leaving bodies in the mud behind them. That river of life does not mourn in the human way. But because of it, the savannah never stops functioning. Many predators on the savannah win with speed or teamwork. The Nile crocodile wins with something older than both: patience. It lies under the surface long enough for the river to seem empty, except for sunlight and silt. Only the eyes and nostrils remain above water, narrow, cold, almost expressionless. Beneath that quiet surface is armor, muscle, and jaws, built to lock shut and never let go. During the Great Migration, the Mara River is not only an obstacle in the path of wildebeest and zebras, it becomes a dining table for creatures that have waited a very long time. The crocodile does not rush. It does not need to. Life will bring food directly to its mouth. When the herds hesitate at the bank, it is already there. When the first animal jumps, it is still there. When the water turns opaque with hooves and panic, that is when its moment truly begins. Tail sweeps, body cuts across the current, jaws erupt upward from below, an animal already struggling to swim. There is no warning. Only a violent pull that makes the surface explode, and then a body is gone, as if the river swallowed it whole. But the most terrifying thing about the crocodile is not the force of its bite. It is the way it turns the environment into a weapon. Water slows prey. Mud steals traction. Current breaks the cohesion of a herd. Roaring, splashing, thrashing. Confuse every life-saving signal. In that world, the crocodile is the only creature that remains calm. It does not need many kills in one crossing. One opportunity in the right place is enough. And if today fails, another herd may come tomorrow. That is the reversal at the heart of its story. The animal that appears almost motionless controls one of the most violent moments in wild Kenya. The crocodile does not dominate by constant presence on the plains. It dominates through memory, attached to water itself. Every wildebeest that stops at the riverbank carries some part of the crocodile's authority inside its hesitation. Every zebra that jerks its head up and backs away by half a step confirms that even when unseen, this predator is expected. And like every other piece of this ecosystem, the crocodile is not only a killer. It removes the weak, the lost, the calves torn away from mothers, the bodies already spent by hundreds of miles of travel. It turns drifting death into food, keeping energy from stopping at the edge of a muddy crossing. It is the ancient memory of this river, as if distant ages still breathe just under the warm African water. When one sweep of the tail sends mud into the sunlight and a hoofed body vanishes beneath the whirl of brown current, the savannah remembers an old truth. Some hunts do not begin in pursuit. They begin in waiting. By day, hippos tempt people to misunderstand what still water means. They lie submerged to the eyes, like living stones breathing and snorting and opening enormous jaws before sinking again. The water around them seems lazy. Birds stand at the bank. Sun rests on their slick gray-purple backs. But beneath that stillness lies territory, divided by tension. This is not a resting pool. It is a place where power is kept with tusks, with deep calls rolling through the water. With invisible distances, no other male is allowed to cross. Hippos live between two worlds. By day, water shields them from the sun and keeps their massive bodies from overheating. At night, they rise and follow paths through the grass to feed. The savannah is often told through the story of predators. Hippos remind us that even grazing can reshape a landscape. They carve trails through riverbanks, keep patches of grass cropped low, and cycle nutrients back into water through their dung. The rivers and floodplains of the Mara carry their footprints as a rhythm repeated across seasons. Then a rival male drifts into the wrong stretch of water. Suddenly, the tone of the whole pool changes. The territorial bull lifts his head, eyes narrowing, mouth opening so wide that the jaw seems like a living cave. Great tusks flash in the light. He bellows. The sound is nothing like a lion's roar. It is deeper, heavier, as if mud, air, and the pressure of the river itself were being forced through the same throat. The other male answers. Water begins to shatter. Bodies of enormous weight slam together, heads collide, jaws gape, white spray erupts. The piece of moments ago proves to have been only a thin skin stretched over a reservoir of violence. That is the turning point of the hippo's story. It is not gentle because it eats grass. It is not passive because it spends its days half submerged. In fact, it is one of the most volatile, unpredictable animals in Africa's waterways. Water does not soften it. Water merely hides most of its force until conflict breaks it open. And because of that very presence, much of the riverbank is shaped by the life of hippos, compressed trails, open grazing edges, nutrient transfer, and spaces other species later use. At night, when the herd rises from the water one by one, each body seems to carry a slab of darkness with it. They move slowly, but nothing here is truly slow. Explosion waits in every throat. In every step lives the memory of roots followed generation after generation, and by dawn they slide back beneath the surface as if nothing happened, allowing the water once again to seal itself over with a false calm. At the foot of Kilimanjaro, when white dust whips across the flats, and the marshes become the last green promise in a dry season, the elephants of Amboseli move as if the ground remembers their names. The herd does not travel at random. It travels by memory. It follows the oldest female, not the one with the largest tusks, but the one who carries something even more important than force, a living map of water-safe passages, old routes, and hidden resources that still remain when drought turns the horizon into a cracked silence. An elephant family always creates the sense of order. Calves in the middle, adults on the outside, older females fanning their ears, touching a calf's back with the trunk, tossing dust across their own flanks, pausing when one member falls behind. No animal on the savannah makes the strength of community more visible than elephants do. A male lion may make the night tremble. A herd of elephants makes daylight itself shift. When they enter mud or wet ground, calves tumble and throw dust and mud over themselves as if playing. The adults remain on guard. Low rumbles pass through the earth before human ears even register sound. Then comes the moment that reveals the deeper nature of this species. An old skull lies beside a dry patch of grass. The herd slows. One female extends her trunk and touches the bone. Another stands perfectly still. A calf looks up, not yet understanding. Here, strength is not found only in ivory or mass. It lies in memory, in bonds that outlast a feeding event, a season, even an individual. Elephants do not simply pass through land, they carry it within them. And perhaps that is why, when drought comes, the survivors are not always the biggest or strongest. Sometimes they are the herd, led by a matriarch who remembers the old route to deep water. And Bozeli is not gentle with elephants. Drought, fences, roads, shrinking space, conflict with people around water and crops, all of it presses against their movement. Yet elephants remain landscape engineers. They push over trees to open space. They dig into dry ground and reveal moisture other species can use. They spread seeds through dung. They create paths that dozens of smaller creatures later follow. A herd is not only a family, it is a force that shapes the land. There are moments when Kilimanjaro disappears behind cloud and the elephants become only dark forms moving through dust. In such scenes, one truth becomes clear: real power is not loud. It endures. It remembers. It knows when to move, when to stop, when to shield the young, when to avoid a place that has become unsafe. And in a world where death can arrive in the form of a dry season 1 month too long, memory may be the highest form of courage. Samburu is a land that forces life to survive through layers of adaptation. Against that hard sky, the reticulated giraffe rises like an answer that is both elegant and severe. From a distance, it looks like a stroke drawn upward into the horizon. Legs impossibly long, neck lifting, small head held high, coat patterned like cracked earth outlined in white over deep orange-brown. But that beauty is not decoration. It is the result of a long bargain with hunger. When the lower brows is gone and thorns turn every shrub into a hook trap, that neck opens access to a layer of food most other herbivores cannot reach. The giraffe feeds in silence among thorn-covered acacias. The long, dark tongue slips between spines like a practiced hand. Every canopy of prunes becomes thinner, brighter, younger. New shoots can emerge. Small openings appear beneath the branches, allowing other layers of plant life to develop. This is what that neck does every day. Quietly, without spectacle, yet enough to shape the savannah in ways few other animals can. Then comes the moment it has to drink, and every advantage reverses. The forelegs spread wide, the neck drops low, the head sinks toward the ground. That lofty body suddenly becomes awkward, exposed, almost fragile. This is one of the most vulnerable positions on the African plains. Lions know it. Crocodiles at the water's edge know it. Every valve, every powerful heartbeat, every adaptation that allows the giraffe to browse above the rest, cannot erase the truth that drinking is a gamble. One strange sound, and the head jerks up, legs pull in, the entire body recoils like a living gate that has just sensed death standing too near. During the dry season, males must also face another form of combat. They neck with one another. Two immense necks swing like weighted cables, heads and horn knobs striking shoulders, ribs, and flanks. It is one of the strangest and most ancient spectacles on the savannah. Not as thunderous as buffalo combat, but inside those slow arcs is a difficult question. Who is stronger? Who has breeding rights? Who can remain standing longer in a place that does not tolerate prolonged weakness? The reticulated giraffe, then, is not simply a symbol of Samburu's beauty. It is a reminder that nature's most extraordinary designs always come with their own liabilities. It reaches high into the sky, yet must lower itself dangerously to mud and water. It escapes competition at ground level, but pays for that privilege with one of the most exposed drinking postures on the savannah. And inside that contradiction, the animal becomes unforgettable. No human engineer could easily redesign a body this tall, this stable, and this precisely vulnerable in the moment it bends. It has been here since long before human beings became humble enough to admit that some living forms feel less like accidents and more like questions left open by creation itself. In northern Kenya, where the land opens into thorn, stone, and hard grass, a different kind of zebra appears, carrying a style of survival sharpened by scarcity. Grevy's zebra is not the common image of migration zebra across the Mara. Its stripes are finer, denser, more intricate. Its ears are large and rounded, always turning like dishes, catching every signal in dry country. It carries the beauty of something refined by hardship rather than abundance. It does not blaze across rich grassland. It endures inside a world where water and food are always difficult questions. Females and foals often travel long distances to reach pasture and water. Males defend territories near valuable water sources. And in the dry season, every approach to a drinking site becomes an act of calculation. Lions may wait nearby, leopards may use the cover, crocodiles may hold the shallows if the water is connected to river systems. But not drinking is its own sentence. On the savannah, many life or death decisions are not about choosing what is good, they are about choosing what is least dangerous. Grevy's zebra stands, therefore, as an emblem of discipline under shortage. It travels farther, tolerates harsher dryland conditions, and through its grazing, movement, and vigilance, it helps keep these dry systems alive rather than silent. It is also prey, meaning even those perfect narrow stripes are woven into a wider chain of life and death. Few species in Kenya remind us more clearly that adaptation is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is simply the ability to endure longer in a place where everything is always in short supply. Nakuru, Ogoria, Magadi. At times, the alkaline lakes of Kenya push the horizon away from the color of earth and into a field of pink. Hundreds of thousands, sometimes more, of slim bodies with curved necks, inverted beaks, and red legs gather so densely that the water appears to bloom. Flamingos almost force the human eye to think first of grace. Kenya teaches something harder. Behind that blaze of color under the sun is a difficult life, tied to algae, microorganisms, water chemistry, seasonal shifts, lake depth, and the precision of ecological balance. Every stir of the feet in the mud, every side-to-side sweep of the head as the bill filters life from cloudy water is labor. They are not simply standing beautifully in bright light. They are processing water into nourishment, reading the lake through their own bodies. The colony depends on the right water levels, enough food, stable breeding conditions, undisturbed shorelines. A small change in any of those can unravel the whole phenomenon. That is what makes flamingos greater than their appearance suggests. An immense spectacle can be built on conditions that are frighteningly delicate. When a whole flock lifts at once, the sky does not erupt with the violence of a lion hunt. It shivers in another way. Thousands of wings beat. Pink washes through the air. The lake catches it and returns it. And in that moment, the flamingo becomes more than a symbol of Kenya. It becomes a miracle of synchronization. Proof that enormous beauty can still be made by fragile bodies moving together in the right place.